So I skipped a day. My apologies. It happens. Today's interesting conversation is brought to you by an argument I had on Facebook. I thought it was interesting because a friend of mine posted a really heartfelt message, I guess you could say. It was really uplifting because it was a guy that was downtrodden, kind of out of his luck, asked for change, was a beggar. And my friend said no and just went about his business inside the store because this guy was loafing outside the store. He later saw the guy rummaging in the dumpster looking for something, like food maybe, I don't know. So he brought him in and he got him food, had him pick whatever he wanted, and fed the guy. Then he sat down and talked with him for a little bit. I thought that was noble. I've done that once myself, just once. Because the guy didn't ask for anything from me. He was already diving in the dumpster, looking for food in the dumpster of a restaurant. Instead of him rummaging through the dumpster, I got him food. And he says, "Thank you, I'm going to bring this to my wife." It kind of shocked me a little bit. Because here the guy was not asking. And I got him food. Because it was the right thing to do. But I don't do that anymore. And I wondered why. So I was talking to him about this subject, and I said that the reason why I don't do this anymore is because there's gypsies around my house. And these people, I've seen them, they own businesses. They go there and they stand with their God bless freaking thing, walking up there with nice clothes on, not dirty at all, hair done nicely, wearing jewelry, designer freaking purses and shit like this. This girl doing this is what brought it to my mind to say it. And I've seen her get all the money from people that feel bad for this person, that feel sad and sorry for her. And then she gets all this money, and then she gets in her Honda Civic and drives off. What kind of a homeless person owns a Honda Civic, or even maybe stole it? I don't know. And drives off. Were they just begging for gas money? She's like, "I need help with diapers." This girl did not have a child for definite. She couldn't be more than 20, maybe. And to me, a gypsy's a sponge. What they do, these people, I've seen them before, the same group. They show up. Them and the whole family does it. And they'll beg everyone. They'll get a bunch of money. They will steal stuff out of cars at where they were parked at and rob people. And then they turn around and go to the flea market. The Trader's Village is what it's called down here. And they'll sell the stuff they stole. For obvious markup, it was free. They stole it. So they'll case it and they'll turn around and sell it. And I've seen them do this. And then when the cops are on to them and they get close or whatever, they disappear. These particular ones that I saw not too long ago, I haven't seen them in a couple of years now. So they're just up and leave. They don't own property. They don't live anywhere. They don't have a home. They might have an apartment, but they have no problem skipping on lease. So they're gypsies. They roam from place to place. They sponge on everybody. And when the local communities finally had enough, they fucking disappear. Just like a gypsy would. Well, somebody else chimed into this conversation and says, "You probably don't know this, but saying gypsy is like totally racist because the Romani people were treated poorly because they were dubbed gypsies and they were really just refugees." I was like, okay, you clearly don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I actually know this person too. But I was like, okay, no, it's not racist. You're clearly wrong, and you shouldn't be chiming in on things you don't know you're talking about. Well, he defended her. So long story short, here's the point. Apparently, these idiots, my friends included, unfortunately, I hate to call them stupid in this fact, but he definitely later agreed with me that I was on point for what he was saying because I corrected him on his assumption. I spelled it out properly, and he's not the only one, but the ones I'm talking about are the egregious jerk faces that have no problem rubbing it in your face that you're racist, bigoted, blah, 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 and really rail on you, trying to claim that you're a racist, bigot, blah, blah, blah. And what they do is they confuse nationality, ethnicity, race, and culture. It's all the same thing. So if you offend any one of those little things, you're clearly a racist. In this case, they were trying to say a Romani person because I was calling them a gypsy. And these people, I think, were actually Hispanic. Not 100% sure. But because I'm calling them a gypsy, therefore it's racist because the Romanis were treated badly. And vis-a-vis. Unfortunately for everybody, nationality is not a race. So it is impossible to be racist toward a nationality. Bigoted, maybe. A dick, for sure. You can be all those things. But racist? No. No. You have to redefine racism in order for that to happen. And of course, they have. They've tried to. But I don't allow it. I don't accept their definition. I don't need to. Why should I? Racism has been defined for 100 plus years as being superior or inferior, or at least believing that you're superior or inferior toward another race. Race being defined by the color of your skin. The black race. The white race. See, if you're a dick towards somebody because they might have an accent, that might be racist, depending. If you lump all Asians in as Chinese, for example, and you're a dick toward anybody that might have an accent that is also Chinese, that could be racist. However, it's not exactly the same when you're using a derogatory term like gypsy towards somebody that's behaving like a gypsy, and they're not Romani. In fact, Romanian is not a race. That's the problem there now, isn't it? You try to conflate race, the color of one's skin, with nationality. Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work at all. The same thing can be said for this white privilege nonsense. And when they try to do white culture, a race does not have a culture. Case in point, let me give you a great example. The black race. The black race. Everybody that's black, that's downtrodden, the poor proletariat that they want to call themselves, whoever they want, they're the oppressed. They're the oppressed. Oppressed where? Are they oppressed in Nigeria, Ghana, Tanzania, South Africa? Or are they the majority? Do they own those countries? And each one of those countries have a different language. So does the black race speak the same language? Does it? No, it doesn't. Let's go, not disparaging anymore toward this idea, but the white race. I can speak a little German. My German sucks, but that's okay. I can speak a little French too, and a little Spanish. If you go over to Europe, all those three countries are white. Do they have the same culture? Do they have the same derogatory language? Arschloch? It means something in German. Does it mean the same thing in English? If you translate it, yes, it means asshole. Anyways, the fun part about this is German culture, the nationality of culture, is not American culture. Weird how that works. Of course, they can lump, exceptionalism, individualism, and all that fun stuff into white culture because it's predominantly white countries that have such ideals. China does and doesn't for the most part. They are communists for certain things and others not. They have a People's Party and a mock election. Japan, abso-fucking-lutely. They dedicate their life to the pursuit of perfection in some cases, once they figured out what they're passionate for. It's a very interesting culture, to say the least. But they have similar ideals to the American culture. Do they not? Weird, don't you think? Here's the thing. Here's the thing that really annoys me with confusing all this. Whites don't have a culture. Culture is often tied to geography. The culture of the French is not the same as the culture of Great Britain, is not the same as the culture of Germany, is not the same as the culture of Denmark, of Sweden, of Norway, going up the cold region, Iceland. They do not have the same culture. They do not have the same folklore. They do not have the same history, same language. So when you conflate race with ethnicity, because you have cultures within cultures, ethnicity is not a race. Ethnicity is an origins story, if you want to put it that way. Meaning, for example, I'm a fourth Scottish. A little less than a fourth. I'm more Scottish than Elizabeth Warren is American Indian. Let's put it that way. Because my great-grandfather came from Scotland. He was 100% Scottish born. His family migrated here just before he was born. Well, that ethnicity, that culture that is adopted in some parts, little bits, is not anything to do and has nothing to do with my race whatsoever. Yes, Scottish are mostly white. There are black Scots. There are brown Scots. There are people that are born in Scotland that have more to do with Scotland than I do. Because my ethnicity may track back to Scotland, but they are born and bred there. Culture has everything to do with geography. Nationality. Where do you get those things mixed up? The culture and the nation typically have the same thing. Because a nation is defined by its geography. It has borders, or different subject, different talking point, but the people that are trying to dissolve the borders want to get rid of nation states. The 50 states of the United States, each state has a slightly different culture. They have different laws. They have different acceptance criteria. For example, in Texas, you can buy beer on pretty much every day except for half a day on Sunday. In Utah, you cannot buy it on the weekends unless you're at a bar. Sunday, definitely not. Everything's closed. Sunday, by the way, is the best day to go driving in Utah because there is nobody on the highways. I mean, it is barren. You might see 3 cars on a Sunday. It is brilliant. Just to go cruising, going down the highways, going up in the mountains and all that, there's no one there. Nobody is around. It's open sailing, basically. It's brilliant. You go to any other state, not so much. It's pretty busy every single day of the week, isn't it? The cultures in every state is slightly different. But we have one unifying doctrine that keeps us all as a nation. Although there are people trampling on that right now, but I digress. No, it's not Trump, by the way, assholes. But anyways, I find it rather annoying that these concepts that used to be taught in junior high and high school, shit that I sloughed on and still know more about. I didn't graduate high school. I skipped the classes I didn't like because my 9th grade year was dissolved. It disappeared. They lost it. I did night school and everything else up until my senior year and said, fuck it, I'm not going to do anymore. But then, look what happened. Here I am sitting with the doctorates. I know more about these subjects than people that just graduated high school. How can that be? How can it be that I know that nationality and culture are intertwined, but they have nothing to do with race? How can I know that race is all about the skin tone of a person, and has nothing to do with the other two. Because we've spread so far out, it's impossible to detect. Ethnicity is all about heritage. Has nothing to do with race, necessarily. Because you don't practice the same shit that your other national heritage comes from. These things are disconnected. And the more that people realize how disconnected they are, the better off we'll be. It is not racist to disparage another ethnicity, another nationality, or another culture. If that culture's shit, we shouldn't be emblemizing it anyways. It should not be celebrated. If they have shit in there, they don't belong. And that is going to be the subject of my next video, I think, is the differences between cultures. There was another comment I was talking to somebody on, and apparently a lot of his followers said, oh, you need to get rid of this bigot. Oh my God, he's such a horrible person. How about he's just a horrible racist? And he's clearly a Trump supporter. So you need to get him off your thing. But now he's actually a good friend of mine. From China, actually. Hopefully I can do a collab with him. Because this subject, I think, is quite interesting. And it has to deal with nationality and nationalism. I think there's some merit to be said there. There's some differences. Because we're seeing what's happening with Hong Kong and China. And they're different cultures. But similar ethnicity. In fact, I think they both speak Mandarin, if I'm not mistaken. Or Hong Kong speaks Cantonese and then China all speaks Mandarin because it's the people's language. Something like that. I don't know. I suck at Chinese. That's the worst language for me to learn. It is really, really hard. Really hard. That and Hindi, right up there. Just, oh my God. It's a very difficult language to learn. At least for me. Anyways, I digress. I hope I've kind of spelled this out. It came from a story about me calling somebody a gypsy because they're behaving like the gypsies of old. Gypsy is a derogatory term. Rightly so, because these people are sponges. They're leeches. They actually don't need the help. They're just preying on your sympathy. It's horrible. Whereas the people that really do need it don't get the help they need because they got these other sponges stealing it from them, basically. I digress. I hope I spelled it out a little bit. The differences therein. This should be elementary. This should be taught in junior high. Apparently it isn't anymore because the person I was talking to just graduated high school and doesn't know the difference. And then tried to accuse me of racism, as usual. I still find it amazing that I must be the most racist piece of shit in the world, but I'm married to a non-U.S. citizen who is definitely not white. Just, what the fuck? Are you stupid? Apparently so. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you next time.